This situation means for both nations as debate in Congress starts up again this morning.
If you shop or walk through NODA, changes are coming. Coming up, why city leaders say street vending is coming to an end.
Winter break is over. Getting your child back into a school routine can be hard.
What experts say is the best way to get your kids adjusted. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
And here's that final look at the traffic conditions. You can see a little bit more red than green out there with two big things that we're following, including this crash. This is going to be on the Brookshire Boulevard heading southbound near Lucia Riverbend Highway, causing a stretch of delays about 3 miles. In addition, this crash still has the plaza shut down in between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive, something that I will be monitoring on WCNC Plus.
All right, a final check of that Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Now we should be at 52 degrees. Today we are turning up that heat. 65 with some sunshine to look forward to this afternoon. Even mild throughout the overnight hours. Upper 40s, low 50s heading out the door tomorrow morning. Nearly 75 degrees with sunshine on a Wednesday before a few more clouds start to roll back into the areas as we're wrapping up our work week and heading into the weekend. Remember, rain showers moving in on Saturday, especially the first half of the day.
All right. Well, this morning we're talking about really the biggest breakfast debate there is, and that is pancakes or waffles. We asked you the question this morning, which team are you on? And so far, we'll just say this, it's not looking good for Team Pancakes out there.
What?
Surprise,
right. You gotta
surprise.
Text us 704-329-3600. I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Exactly.
It was 50-50 on our team, though.
Yeah, are you the results?
Yeah, that's a good question,
Maybe.
Becca.
We'll find out more.
Yeah.
That's right.
Make sure you join us on WCNC Plus. We're going to have more results for you. Go Team Waffles.
What?
Right. streaming live right now at 7 a.m. here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off this half hour with a check of your forecast on this Tuesday morning. And for some of you, you may be noticing some fog as you head out this morning.
Exactly. Foggy conditions, and we do have some cloud coverage out there. Now, a lot of the fog that we were waking up to yesterday was right in Mecklenburg County, and this morning a lot of it is really north of us. So you can tell in our live camera shots, it's not that foggy. We do have some patchy fog in and around Charlotte, but not quite as dense as to what we're seeing more north of us. Cloudy skies helping to keep us mild this morning, though, and the National Weather Service did issue another dense fog advisory. It'll stay in place until 9 o'clock this morning, and notice all counties shaded in gray. You'll stay under that. So parts of I-85, I-77, and I-40 there, we will have dense fog, really limiting down visibility. So as you're traveling this morning, just make sure you're mindful. You need to be prepared for changing road conditions, because at times it's going to be perfectly clear. You won't see any fog whatsoever, and then you head out towards Lincolnton and it's going to be very difficult to see. Much of the same up towards Hickory and Shelby, even as we head out towards Asheville. So it's extending quite a bit. You can see our current temperatures, not too bad as we're gearing up. Maybe you're heading out to go off to work. Maybe you're heading off to the gym, or maybe you're just getting those kids off to school today. We're at 44 in Rock Hill, 45 in Charlotte, and getting a little colder, of course, as we head up towards the mountains. Upper 20s, low to mid 30s there. Now today we do start out with a whole lot of clouds in place, but unlike yesterday, we will see more sunshine earlier by about 9-10 o'clock. And then as we head into the afternoon, we should have a good mix of sun and clouds overall. Temperatures will be at about 60 degrees by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but we're not even done warming up yet. Again, high temperatures this time of the year, they should be at about 52 degrees, and today we are well above that. 65 for our high here in the Queen City, 65 in Lancaster, 67 there in Cheraw. A little breezy at times today. Remember, those southwesterly winds will be ushering in warmer air for us, but it will also help to push out a lot of the clouds. Yesterday, it actually turned out to be a pretty decent afternoon. 58 degrees is where we topped off, though. And then today, we're just going to turn it up even more with 65 for a forecasted high. Again, a little breezy, so if you have plans to be out and about, you'll notice a bit of a wind at times. Some of those winds gusting about 20 to 25 miles an hour, moving in from the south-southwest. So with that, it's going to be ushering in warmer temperatures, warmer air for us, and then you can see how those temperatures will respond. 65, partly cloudy skies. Overnight tonight, temperatures remain really mild. So heading out the door for our Wednesday, upper 40s, low 50s, not bad for that bus stop forecast tomorrow. And then nearly 75 degrees with a whole lot of sunshine come Wednesday, holding on to 70s even through Thursday and Friday. But coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about our next storm system, when it approaches, when it's going to potentially bring some rain, and how it could possibly impact some of your weekend plans. But for now, let's send things over to Becca with a check on those roads. Good morning, Becca.
Good morning. Here is a live look outside from I-77 at Nations Ford Road. Starting to see at least some brighter skies out there, although still cloudy conditions. Traffic really picking up between York inbound into Mecklenburg County. Very typical for this time of day. Two big things that I want to let you know of. First, this crash in Mountain Island Lake. This is on those southbound lanes or inbound lanes of the Brookshire Boulevard right at Horseshoe and Bend Beach Road. A big workaround around this would be to take Lucia Riverbend Highway, as these delays are now continuing to grow to about 3.3 miles there. In addition, this one still causing issues. An earlier crash on the plaza has completely shut down the road, as it did take down some power lines. So it's shut down between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive. 79 customers are currently without power. That is an improvement, and the best workaround would be to take Shamrock Drive.
Becca, thanks. 7:04 now. We start with a breaking news update out of Northwest Charlotte. CMPD is investigating a deadly shooting that happened near the intersection of Carroll Avenue and Rose Street. It's actually not far from Tuckasegee Road. Police say when they arrived on that scene just after 7 last night, they found a man who'd been shot. Medic pronounced him dead shortly afterwards. Our crews on the scene tell us they saw a car with its windows shot out. At this time, police say there are no suspects in custody. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That phone number 704-344-1600.
This morning, we're following a high-profile attempt to get Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden removed from office. A state lawmaker and 4 former employees of the sheriff's office have filed a petition in court. They accuse the sheriff of misconduct and say he broke the law. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live from the sheriff's office uptown with a closer look at what comes next. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Tuesday morning to all the folks watching us on the Plus. Here at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center, Gary McFadden is the leader. He is the sheriff of this county. But now there are a number of folks, including a state representative, who say it's time for him to step aside. They did so by filing they submitted Monday a representative, they submitted, in the Mecklenburg County Superior Court by State Representative Carla Cunningham, former Chief Deputy Kevin Canty, and 3 other former sheriff employees filed this charge, claiming that Gary McFadden has caused safety problems at the Mecklenburg County Jail. He's retaliated against his critics, misused county resources, I should say, and inappropriate conduct involving deputies and department vehicles, including, listen to this, including taking certain vehicles and dignitaries to strip clubs. It also claims in the suit that McFadden violated federal law by directing sheriff office to assist with campaign work by using agency vehicles and credit cards for non-official purposes. Now, for Representative Cunningham, her claims stem in part from a conversation she held with McFadden during a debate over state legislation requiring sheriffs to cooperate more closely with federal immigration authorities. She says the interaction amounted to intimidation and then an attempt to influence her vote.
One of the things he said was that the citizens of Mecklenburg County would come after me. And he went on to explain that the cost to house the people inside of the jail was going to cost additional money and that the citizens would have to foot that bill. I'm hoping and I'm praying that something does happen that will be beneficial, not just for me, but for everybody in this county, because it's not acceptable that you would threaten someone, no matter what position you hold.
Now, what happens next for McFadden? 2 people have that authority to remove him for gross misconduct. That would be the district attorney of Mecklenburg County or the county attorney. As for the district attorney, that's Spencer Merriweather. He says that he has asked the SBI to launch an investigation before he makes a decision. And as far as how long, a timeline that this could take, it could take several months. We've reached out to Sheriff McFadden. We haven't heard from him. Hopefully we'll do so today and hear from him. Again, he is running for sheriff this year. He is being opposed in the primary by 3 other candidates. We're right here in Uptown. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thank you for that. To hear that full interview with Representative Cunningham, you can find it right here on WCNC Plus and WCNC.com. While all this is happening, more North Carolina House lawmakers say they're calling on Sheriff McFadden to testify in front of them. The House Oversight Committee is asking him to appear later this month on January 22nd. They want to hear from him regarding public safety across Charlotte, including public safety on transit. They also expect him to address strategy, spending, and the department's DEI efforts. Sheriff McFadden says he, quote, has nothing to hide and plans to testify, adding that he hopes the testimony will mark a beginning of constructive dialogue. As Richard alluded to, Sheriff McFadden looks to win another term. He's going to face a crowded field in the Democratic primary. That includes Antoine Nance, a former Mecklenburg County detention officer, CMPD Sergeant Ricky Robbins, and Rodney Collins, a former chief deputy with Mecklenburg County.
Right now, a GoFundMe is raising money for the family of a CMPD officer who died on Sunday. CMPD says 39-year-old Michael Miles passed away from a medical complication. He joined the department in 2012 and served in the Freedom Division. Officer Miles leaves behind a partner and 4 children. So far, more than $25,000 has been raised to support his family. This morning, we are working to learn what led to a crash involving a CMS bus in North Charlotte. It happened Monday afternoon at Beatties Ford Road and Sunset Road. Police say another driver was involved. 2 people were hurt. There's no word yet if they were students. We've reached out to CMS and are waiting for a response.
Right now, we turn to the latest developments in the turmoil happening in Venezuela. Former President Nicolas Maduro and his wife remain in a New York jail after pleading not guilty to narco-terrorism, conspiracy, and other federal charges. Authorities say they were captured Saturday by U.S. forces in a surprise operation. Delcy Rodriguez, who was Venezuela's vice president under Maduro, has been sworn in as the country's new president. President Donald Trump says the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela and warned that interim leader to cooperate or pay a big price. Rodriguez has said she's willing to work with America. Here in Charlotte, a lot of folks expressing concerns over the ongoing situation there in Venezuela. The owner of a local Venezuelan restaurant tells us that fear in the country is high, with guerrilla groups actively targeting those who oppose Maduro's administration. And although he believes this was needed, challenges, he says, lies ahead.
So this was 100% necessary, but now I'm afraid about my people in there because now you can find shortage in food, in medical attendance.
Coming up in our next half hour right here on WCNC Plus, hear from a professor of Latin American Studies. He shares his insight on the key players in this situation, including that new president.
Right now, there are a lot of questions surrounding what will happen to Venezuela and if the United States has ever captured another country's leader.
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg has the answers in this morning's Verify.
We've seen several questions on social media asking whether the United States has ever intervened in another country. When we looked back at history, we found that the U.S. has done this before, involving different countries and different presidents. So let's take a closer look.
To get answers, we went to the Office of Historian, Congressional Research Services, and the research database EBSCO. According to EBSCO, in 1965, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson sent 22,000 American troops to the Dominican Republic. The goal was to stop former President Juan Bosch, who had been overthrown in 1963 in a coup, from returning to power. The U.S. feared it could become a new communist government. In 1983, after Grenada's Prime Minister Maurice Bishop was overthrown and killed, President Ronald Reagan ordered the U.S. military to invade the island. He said the invasion was meant to protect American medical students living there and to prevent Grenada from falling under communist influence. And in 1989, President George H.W. Bush ordered a U.S. invasion of Panama. About 24,000 U.S. troops were sent over to remove the country's leader, General Manuel Noriega, who had been charged with drug trafficking. He was captured and taken to the U.S., put on trial, and sent to prison. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
In York County, residents are calling on county leaders to move the controversial SILFAP facility from its current location. This comes after months of concerns about the environmental quality around that facility, where two Fort Mill schools are located. Residents now saying council needs to do more to ensure the safety of the community.
This facility presents real risks, especially given its proximity to schools and neighborhoods. The Attorney General has made your authority clear. The final question is not whether you can act, it's whether you will now enforce the BZA ruling and direct staff to comply with the law.
An independent test of the air around the school showed that the air was safe. South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster plans to dedicate more than $1 billion to road projects in this year's state budget. He says that money would help keep construction moving despite recent inflation. Right now, nearly $7 billion in construction projects are underway statewide.
7:13 right now. Special Counsel Jack Smith defending the indictment of President Trump 5 years after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. How those in Washington are marking today's anniversary.
7:16 now. Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus. Live pictures this morning from the nation's capital. 5 years ago today, pro-Trump rioters stormed the Capitol, demanding the results of the 2020 presidential election be overturned.
Now, as NBC's Paul Wagner reports, former special counsel Jack Smith defends the indictment of President Trump, saying the criminal case was strong and never political.
The criminal case filed against President Donald Trump for allegedly attempting to overturn the 2020 election was dismissed after Trump was reelected in November of 2024. Last month, the man in charge of that investigation, former special counsel Jack Smith, defended his case in a deposition before the House Judiciary Committee.
One of the strengths of our case and why we felt we had such strong proof is our witnesses were not going to be political enemies of the president. They were going to be political allies. We had numerous witnesses who would say, I voted for President Trump.
Smith also told the committee his work was never political, and the evidence against Trump was incredibly strong.
The evidence here made clear that President Trump was, by a large measure, the most culpable and most responsible person in this conspiracy. These crimes were committed for his benefit. The attack that happened at the Capitol, as part of this case, does not happen without him.
More than 100 officers were injured during the 2021 attack on the Capitol.
Multiple law enforcement entries.
That's the voice of D.C. Police Inspector Robert Glover, who told News 4 in July of 2022 that the violence was so fierce he thought some officers would be justified in using deadly force.
I could see the fear in a lot of the officers' eyes.
A plaque honoring the police officers who defended the Capitol on January 6 has still not been installed on the west front of the Capitol. It was authorized by Congress back in 2022, and it's now the subject of a lawsuit in federal court. The lawsuit was filed by two officers who hoped to force the architect of the Capitol to finally display it for all to see. But the Department of Justice, which is defending the architect, wants the case dismissed. For now, the location of that plaque is unknown. To mark the 5th anniversary, there will be a memorial march organized by January 6 defendants, including former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio. Tarrio was pardoned by the president and says justice has not been served for Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer inside the Capitol. A flyer posted by Tarrio on X says that march will begin at the Ellipse just before noon and honor all the lives lost that day.
Well, straight ahead, we're going to be talking about the nice weather that's on the way today, getting even warmer by tomorrow, possible record warmth before a strong cold front arrives. We'll talk about those impacts straight ahead.
approaching 7:22 this morning. IHOP offering its bottomless pancake deal starting this month, running the next 3 months. So this morning we wanted to know really the biggest breakfast debate out there: pancakes or waffles? Which team you're on? 704-329-3600. We do want to say, when we first brought this up about an hour and a half ago over on the broadcast, this has now become one of our biggest responses we've gotten from you in recent time here on the morning show. And so far, the votes are not even close. Keep sending your thoughts. Team waffles, team pancakes. Let us know, 704-329-3600. We'll talk about it coming up at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Let's take a look at the weather forecast. If you are just waking up, turning on the stream, you need to know we have another morning of pockets of dense fog, especially north of Mecklenburg County and parts of I-77, I-40 right there. National Weather Service will keep that in place, that dense fog advisory in place till about 9 o'clock this morning. So still seeing very limited visibility, especially right there in Lincolnton, Hickory, Shelby, Statesville. That's where the fog is going to be the densest. Once we're looking outside, live camera, this one's coming in from Dallas. You can see some of that fog down there, but above it, it's showing that it's going to be a beautiful day ahead, and that's what we're really getting you prepared for. Temperatures this afternoon climb back into the mid-60s, so another day of above average temperatures. We should be at about 52 degrees, so we'll be well above that today, and especially by tomorrow with mostly sunny skies for Wednesday. Highs again rising to nearly 75 degrees and still not too bad for our Thursday either, although we will start to see a little bit more cloud coverage. As far as the rain goes, we don't have any of that today. We are watching our next storm system push through Friday night and into Saturday. Likely Saturday, you need to be prepared for those impacts. Here's about 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday where that rain starts to impact us through that 9 o'clock hour as well, and even into the afternoon. Not only rain, but possibly could see a few storms. We're going to have more on this and your full 7-day forecast straight ahead, but for now, let's check in with Becca with a look at those roads. Becca.
All right, want to take you out to a couple of new things, including this crash. This is going to be on I-85 and northbound at Cox Road in Gaston County, where currently one lane of traffic is blocked off. You can see those flashing emergency lights there, although this is just a screenshot of that crash, but traffic moving slowly because of it. So that will add plenty of extra minutes if you are headed from Gaston inbound in Mecklenburg County on I-85 northbound. A couple of other things out there, including this new crash on the inbound lanes of Independence Boulevard, blocking one lane of traffic. This is near Briar Creek Road. You can see delays extend all the way to about North Sharon Amity Road. In addition, this is on the southbound lanes of the Berkshire Boulevard. We do have a crash at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. Delays extending now past 4 miles. Take Lucia Riverbend Highway to get around this, guys.
Well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. We are starting out the day with very mild conditions. We're at 48 degrees right now in the Queen City, 38 in Lincolnton, and much cooler up there in Boone, only 28 degrees. So grab layers, you're heading out the door, but also be mindful that we do have some fog in place again. Not so much across the Charlotte metro area, but really it's north of Mecklenburg County along parts of I-77 and I-40, mainly from Hickory out towards Statesville, even Lincolnton. Make sure you're very careful as you're traveling this morning. You can see some of that fog right here, taking a live camera look coming in from Dallas. Otherwise, we are getting you ready for a warmer day today with temperatures rising back into the mid-60s and a little sunshine to look forward to as we're heading into the later half of the day. Warmer by tomorrow, mid-70s with possible record warmth taking us through the rest of our work week. Becca, how are the roads?
I want to take you live out now over towards Shannon Park, where we do have an active crash. This did take down some power lines on the plaza that is completely shut down between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive. Here it is on the map. Currently, about 79 customers without power. Estimated time of restoration is around 1:30 this afternoon. Best workaround, take Shamrock Drive instead.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Tuesday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. This morning, Lancaster County deputies are investigating a suspected homicide near Indian Land. Just before noon Monday, they responded to the parking lot of the Designers Marketplace on Yarborough Road. That's right off Fort Mill Highway. There they found a 74-year-old man shot and killed inside a van. We're told the victim worked at the business. It's not clear yet, though, how long he was dead before investigators discovered his body. No word yet on a potential suspect. Right now, an Iredell County man is in jail after authorities say he shot at young people pulling pranks in his neighborhood. Craig Mason facing multiple felony charges. Deputies say a group of teens were driving through Mason's neighborhood on Saturday playing Ding Dong Ditch. That's when Mason went to investigate a doorbell ring at a neighbor's home and opened fire on their vehicle. One teen was shot in the leg and taken to the hospital. We're told Mason's bond amount will be determined when he appears in court.
Charlotte's newly formed Safety Council Committee met Monday for the first time following a series of high-profile crimes, including the deadly stabbing of Irina Zarutska, which put public safety and mental health under a microscope. Leaders zeroing in on how untreated mental health and substance abuse issues often show up in crime. City leaders pointing to the data that shows how strong that connection can be. In a survey they found, out of 175 detained youth, nearly 98% had at least one mental health diagnosis, underscoring the need for intervention before the courtroom.
How can we intersect And we have to do that in our schools, we have to do that in our homes, we have to make sure that our parents are being accountable and that we as community members are accountable.
City leaders say the conversation will continue at a strategic planning retreat later this month, where they will focus on funding and expanding existing programs.
Charlotte City leaders taking a hard look at whether street vending really works in one of the city's busiest neighborhoods.
After 6 months of testing the idea in NODA, officials say some issues improved, but others proved much harder to fix. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning in NODA with a look at why the city is now moving in a different direction. Destiny.
Yeah, city leaders say the 6-month pilot program, which had vendors along streets like North Davidson in NODA, they say the pilot program was helpful here, but not enough to overcome what they call a major problem, and that is NODA's narrow sidewalks. Now, Charlotte City staff walked council members through the timeline of the NODA street vending pilot, which launched last fall after complaints from brick and mortar businesses about congestion and safety. 14 vendors were permitted during the pilot, and city leaders say there were some improvements, including fewer unpermitted vendors and less sidewalk crowding at peak times. But staff say illegal vending continued, enforcement options are limited, and NODA's infrastructure simply isn't built to support street vending long term.
When you're in NODA, it's really very difficult, whether it be a city permitted program or not, to have a vendor in a location where they're not obstructing the sidewalk or they're not impacting the sight line of a driver, or frankly, they're not within very close proximity to an entrance of a small business itself. So when we say it's just not suitable from an infrastructure perspective, I mean, these are just hard constraints that are really difficult to get around.
And the safety committee agreed to let the pilot program expire, and NODA vendors with permits will be allowed to operate until February 15th. That is that deadline. And the city did also recommend stronger and broader guidelines for street vendors citywide, but any official decisions on that will have to come to a future vote. I'll send it back to you guys live here in NODA.
I mean, narrow sidewalks, there's only so much you can do about narrow sidewalks. I mean, there's limited space unless you take it from the road or somewhere else. So aside from that, what were some of the other issues that led to the choice to end this pilot program?
Yeah, so through this program, again, it was 14 street vendors. They were all assigned to certain locations within NODA, and it's called a congested business district because it has, businesses and high traffic. And they say apart from just the narrow sidewalks, the infrastructure, there were also issues with enforcement. There were fewer illegal vendors, but there were still illegal vendors that were showing up, ones that did not have permits. And with CMPD watching things, there were some gaps whenever officers would switch shifts, and they couldn't crack down on everyone. So with this, they say that the pilot program just isn't enough to really stop everyone who doesn't have a permit. Enforcement is a big issue, and that could be something that they revisit if they choose to vote on street vending and having some restrictions in place, including stricter enforcement in the future, because right now all CPD can do is issue civil citations.
Destiny Richards reporting live for us in NODA this morning. Thank you, Destiny. Sycamore Brewing is no longer moving forward with its planned location in Cotswold. That's according to a spokesperson for Thrift Commercial Real Estate Services, which operates at Cotswold Village. This comes as the brewing company closed its South End location Monday following the arrest of Justin Brigham, the now former co-owner of Sycamore Brewing, last month. He is accused of raping a teenager. Brigham remains in custody in Stanley County. His next court appearance is scheduled for January 26th.
7:36 right now on WCNC Plus. Now the latest in Venezuela. The Trump administration and many congressional Republicans defending Saturday's brazen U.S. military raid to capture that country's president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. However, not everybody on Capitol Hill is convinced the mission was legal in the first place. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
Fresh tensions in Venezuela as overnight gunfire rang out in Caracas. Two White House officials tell NBC News the administration is closely tracking the situation and the U.S. was not involved. While in the U.S., Venezuela's deposed authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores pleading not guilty to federal drug and weapons charges. Maduro saying in a New York courtroom that he's still the constitutional president of Venezuela, calling himself a prisoner of war. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi defending the Trump administration's move to capture and remove Maduro, accusing him of bringing tons of drugs into the U.S.
This was well within the president's Article 2 powers. It was a law enforcement function to arrest indicted individuals in Venezuela.
President Trump has repeatedly said the U.S. is now in charge in Venezuela, even as interim president and Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez was formally sworn in. While in an exclusive interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, President Trump asserted the U.S. is at war with people that sell drugs, not with Venezuela, as Democrats slam the administration for acting without congressional approval.
It was military action, not a law enforcement action.
Republican leadership defending the use of force after a classified briefing for the Gang of Eight top congressional leaders.
The administration is acting consistent with the law, and that's what we discussed in the room tonight.
President Trump telling NBC News the U.S. may reimburse oil companies that help rebuild Venezuelan infrastructure, aiming for expanded oil operations within 18 months. Venezuela's interim president, who initially called Maduro's capture an illegal kidnapping, is now offering to collaborate with the Trump administration. Yet her government has ordered police to arrest anyone involved in supporting this weekend's U.S. attack that ousted Maduro. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, right here on WCNC Plus, we spoke to a professor of Latin American studies and got insight on Venezuela's new leader, Delcy Rodriguez. Take a listen.
She's known as a kind of, radical presence in terms of her speech, in terms of her, anti-imperialist credentials. But over the past few years, when Venezuela has entered deep economic crisis, she's really actually been much more of a pragmatist and a moderate, moving Venezuela from a hyperinflationary cycle to a dollarized economy, which helped to stem some of the deepest financial crisis.
Join us as we take a deeper dive into the issues of the day and breaking news as it happens. Download WCNC Plus and stream all day.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Let's take a look at the weather forecast as we are heading into now our Tuesday morning. We're starting out the morning with very mild temperatures. It's 48 degrees. However, we do have a lot of cloud coverage in place again today. A cloudy start to the day. Some of you still dealing with pockets of dense fog, but by this afternoon, we warm up very nicely and we should have a little sunshine as well. Kannapolis, good morning. Looking just fine if you're heading out the door anytime soon. Look at how pretty this is. You can see that low-lying fog right there up above it. Beautiful colors in the sky. That's coming in from Dallas. And a few things you need to know really as you're starting your day. Dense fog remains a problem mainly north of Mecklenburg County. That'll be for areas right along I-40 and then parts of I-77. Really, you can see from Statesville to Hickory, Lincolnton, even into Taylorsville. The National Weather Service still has you under a dense fog advisory until about 9 o'clock this morning. And that makes sense because look at very limited visibility for several of you. So as you're heading out the door, just be prepared for changing conditions, because if you're traveling in Boone, you don't have any fog, but once you get to Hickory and you head over towards Statesville, it will be difficult to see at times. A little bit of patchy fog right around the Charlotte metro area, but not too bad. Now here's the deal. We do have a lot of cloud coverage out there this morning, but when we have clouds in the morning time, it just acts like a morning time blanket, keeping those temperatures very mild. Rock Hill 44 if you're heading out anytime soon, 46 in Lancaster, almost 50 degrees there in Monroe, and 37 in Jefferson. So your morning walk or run, it should be just fine. If you're looking for a little sunshine, though, I would wait until about mid-morning, early afternoon, because that's when we'll start to see that sunshine come out. About 1 o'clock this afternoon, around 60 degrees, but we're not even done warming up by that point. Around 52 is where we should be for our average high temperature, but truly the big weather story heading into the next several days, it's going to be all all about possible record warmth. 65 degrees is what we're forecasting today here in Charlotte, 67 in Ross, 64 up towards Hickory. Again, partly sunny skies this afternoon, and that'll be a big difference compared to yesterday's high of 58 degrees. Now, if you like the warmer weather, we have more of that coming our way, but don't forget, it will be a little bit breezy out there this morning and this afternoon. Southwesterly winds is what you should be prepared for. So because those winds are moving in the south and from the west, it's going to usher in warmer air for us, which is why those temperatures are responding. But again, if you have any plans outside, you'll notice just a little breeze here and there. Nothing we can't handle. As we're heading into the next few days, it's going to be all about the warmer weather. Nearly 75 degrees and sunny skies. I know many of you, if you have a motorcycle, if you have a convertible, you're looking forward to that nice weather tomorrow. Take advantage of it because we do have rain on the way. I'll let you know when, all coming up here soon. Becca, what's the latest on that accident you're following?
We actually have live images, and we are on the scene of that earlier crash on the plaza at Aintree Road. What we know is that this crash happened around 2 o'clock this morning, and it did unfortunately take down some power lines. So right now, the plaza is shut down between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive. We had around 466 customers without power early this morning, so that is now improved to 79 customers without power, but the estimated full time of restoration is still around 1:30 this afternoon. Best alternate route, take Shamrock Drive to get around this. Do also have an update on that crash at Gaston County, I-85 North at Cox Road. That is cleared completely. Don't have to worry about that for that morning commute, but we've got a lot of other incidents out there. So I want to take you out to this one causing the most delays as of now. Those are the southbound lanes of the Brookshire Boulevard. Do have a crash at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. Delays extend past 3.5 miles, now closer to 4 miles. Best workaround would be to take Lucia Riverbend Highway to get around this, but still will likely add 10 extra minutes at least to that morning commute. Newest crash on the board, this one, Old Statesville Road at Independence Hill.
Flu cases spiking nationwide. How hospitals are working to keep up amid a record surge.
.45 right now here on WCNC Plus. Turning now to health alert. Concerns continue to grow over measles in North Carolina after somebody with the disease traveled through Gaston County. State health officials say the infected person went to Constantine's restaurant in Gastonia. The owner of the restaurant tells us that he and his staff were tested for the measles and were all negative, and his team continues to make sure the restaurant stays clean.
We were so picky about our restaurant, about our cleaning, about our health department. So we every day cover our table, change the covers, change those things. And you see the glasses, so we are very picky about the cleaning.
If you're somebody who thinks you may have been exposed to the virus, contact your primary care doctor as soon as possible. Flu-like illness is now at the highest rate on record, and doctors scrambling to keep up with it.
NBC's Maggie Vespa is in Chicago with an inside look at how one hospital is handling the surge.
America's record-smashing flu season getting even worse.
We fill up these hallway spaces with patients.
The hallways.
We run out of rooms and beds.
In Chicago, cases at Rush University hospitals up 50% from this time last year.
I remember working a few nights ago right around New Year's, and I would check the waiting room and every patient said flu positive,
Wow.
flu positive, flu positive.
New CDC data shows flu cases spiked more than 7% in a one-week period, with severe cases rising too. 45 states now reporting high or very high flu activity, and the number of outpatient doctor visits for flu-like illnesses hitting record levels.
The biggest things we get concerned about is the shortness of breath and low oxygen.
You think we could be like a couple weeks away from the peak?
I do.
With flu vaccination rates at their lowest levels since 2019, tonight the Trump administration announcing major changes to childhood vaccine recommendations, no longer recommending all kids get flu shots, in addition to RSV, COVID, hepatitis, and others. 3-year-old Naya Kessler got the flu shot and is still in the hospital.
I can't even imagine how much worse it might be for her if we didn't.
Admitted to the ER on New Year's Day, her mom, Kat, says her fever spiked again last night to almost 105.
It's terrifying. It's very scary, and you just feel so hopeless.
Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Chicago.
7:48 right now as we take a live look right now from our WCNC tower cam over uptown right now. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. We're starting out the day with very mild conditions again. We're looking at temperatures mainly into the 30s and 40s. Colder, though, up there in Boone, only 29 degrees. 48 currently right here in Charlotte and 42 in Shelby. So if you're heading out the door anytime soon, you need to know today's temperatures will stay very mild, rising into the mid-60s this afternoon. But we do still have some foggy conditions out there early in the day. Live camera, this one's coming in from Dallas. It's always cool to see the fog from up above, and what's to come once that fog mixes out. We will have a nice day with a nice mix of just sun and clouds overall. Dense fog advisory still in place, so if you're just waking up and turning on the stream, we've been following this for you since 4:30 this morning right along I-40. Very dense fog, especially for areas like Lincolnton and Hickory and Statesville. That's where that fog is incredibly low, so make sure you're driving slowly, you have your low beam headlights on, and just being ready for changing conditions, because not everyone will see the fog, but at times it's going to be very, very thick, and it will significantly reduce down that visibility. Temperatures this afternoon again rising back into the mid-60s. That'll feel nice, and again by about mid-morning, early afternoon, that's when the sun will come out. If you like those warm temperatures today, well, tomorrow you are going to love it. Above average temperatures, that's really the name of the game, with possible record warm highs as we're heading into the next 3 to 4 days. 65 degrees there in Lincolnton this afternoon, 64 in Hickory. Look at Chirac, 67. So if you want to take your lunch break outside today, I think today would be a great day to do it. Remember, a little breezy at times with some of those winds, though, gusting up to around 20 to 25 miles an hour. Again, 65 for us today with partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows tonight very mild. That means waking up tomorrow upper 40s, low 50s, setting us up for a picture perfect day tomorrow. Nearly 75 degrees. And then once we're wrapping up our work week, we're still holding on to warm temperatures, but a lot of cloud coverage starts to push back through. We're also following a strong cold front that's really going to impact the southeast as a whole, with rainy weather on the way Friday and into Saturday. And now we're starting to wonder, could there be some storms with this strong front as well? We'll talk more about that, and I'll show you your full 7-day forecast straight ahead. But Becca, what's the latest on this crash that you're following?
Yeah, a couple of things right now, including this one. This is going to be something that we've been covering since the 5 o'clock hour. This crash that took down power lines. This is blocking the plaza between Eastway Drive and the Lakedale Drive, and the estimated time of restoration right around 1:30 this afternoon. Rush hour traffic, well, it's still ongoing. Live look outside from one of the busy spots, I-85 near University City Boulevard. A big stretch of delays, especially if you're coming from York inbound into Mecklenburg County on 77 northbound. Here are all of the active crashes we have across the area, including this one. This is causing just continuing to grow delays at the southbound lanes of the Brookshire Boulevard at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. Definitely an area that you'll likely want to avoid. In addition, looking at this new crash on the inner loop of I-45 over towards John Street, also seeing growing delays with this one as well.
Hi, this is Story Sprinkle. Time for a Tuesday Tailwagger along with our friends at Animal Care and Control. Last week we featured Gracie, and Gracie, that sweet dog, is still there, still looking for a forever home. Interesting name that we have this week. It's also Gracie, so we're calling this Gracie Gracie 2. Now, Gracie 2 is about 80 to 85 pounds. She's 11 years old, but just a really sweet and gentle dog. She's house trained. She is one of those dogs that does not bark a lot, easygoing, great on a leash, and one of her favorite things to do is car rides. Her name is Gracie. She's available today. Also good with kids, not with cats, but hey, that's okay. She's a dog. Gracie's available at Animal Care and Control, open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, both days, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. One more time, check her out. She is just a sweet dog. We're calling her Gracie 2. Gracie 2 is about 11 years old, so she's a senior dog, needs a very special home. In fact, we need to get her a home or foster home by January 31st. That's Gracie 2. She is our very special Tuesday Tailwagger.
Well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm. A beautiful start to our Tuesday morning up in the mountains. This is a place to be out there at Beach Mountain because we really are starting out the day with more clouds. We also have some foggy conditions out there for many of us, including Kannapolis there. A lot of the fog is going to start to mix out by about mid-morning. So by the afternoon, it is actually going to be a pretty nice day in and around Charlotte. 48 degrees if you're heading out the door anytime soon right here in the Queen City. Chilly up there towards Boone, 29 degrees. This is where the fog is very dense right along I-40, so watch for limited visibility. We'll stay under dense fog advisories until 9 a.m. today. As we're heading into the afternoon, enjoy that sunshine. Temperatures will continue to rise back into the mid-60s, even warmer by tomorrow with record high warmth on the way, and then rain showers moving in on Saturday. Becca, what's the latest with the roads this morning?
It has been a messy Tuesday morning commute so far. You can see current road conditions now, but when you add all the active crashes and incidents out there, we're up to 10 across the greater Charlotte area. This one causing the most significant delays. Southbound lanes of Brookshire Boulevard. We've got a crash at Horseshoe at Bend Beach Road. This is an area you'll want to avoid.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off with a check of your forecast on this Tuesday. Not really warm right now, but things are going to be improving. Majestic is standing by with those details.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Yeah, today's going to be actually a really mild day. Partly sunny with afternoon highs climbing back into the mid-60s. Want to show you some of our live cameras this morning. This one's coming in from Sugar Mountain, where it's actually really pretty high up in elevation above all those low-lying clouds and the fog that some of us are waking up to currently. More live cameras a little closer to the Charlotte metro area, from Kannapolis to Monroe, even out there towards Lake Norman. Again, not gorgeous, but also not bad. We do still have our dense fog advisory in place for about 1 more hour. We had one in place yesterday as well that did include Mecklenburg County, and now this one this morning, it doesn't. It's mainly north of Charlotte, right along I-40, parts of I-77, and that's where it's going to be difficult to see. So if you're traveling this morning, you might want to allow for a little extra drive time, as that fog is now continuing to spread even from Statesville out towards Salisbury, even Greensboro. So very, very foggy in place. That can be a little deceiving because maybe you're waking up in Charlotte and it's fine, but then you head north or northwest and then it gets very, very foggy. Once that fog mixes out, though, by about mid-morning, we'll start to see some nice gradual improvements with less cloud coverage as as we progress throughout the day. And of course, our temperatures are going to warm very, very nicely. Daytime highs should be into the low 50s for this time of the year, but not today. We are warming things up even more with highs rising back into the mid 60s, but by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe around your lunch break or so, we will have some sunshine out there and those low 60s returning. High temperatures aren't just going to be warm here in Charlotte, but look to the south of us out there towards Wadesboro. 66 there, 67 in Cheraw, and mid 60s out towards Lancaster. Once we're looking at the difference between yesterday's daytime highs and today's, there's a significant difference, and let me tell you, tomorrow it gets even warmer. It will be a little breezy at times, so maybe you're hoping to go play some tennis or some pickleball today. The winds will be moving in from the south and the west today, and that'll help to actually usher in warmer air, which is why our temperatures are going to be much warmer today. But some of those winds again gusting 20 to 25 miles an hour at times. Into the overnight hours, our low temperatures, they'll drop down into the upper 40s, low 50s. So our bus stop forecast tomorrow for those kids is going to be pretty mild, comfortable conditions before we get to rise back into right around those mid 70s for Wednesday. Thursday, more clouds start to push in, but temperatures remain mild into the 70s. Satellite and radar for us this morning looks very quiet across the Carolinas. We'll get through some cloud coverage this morning, then some sunshine this afternoon. But coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about a cold front that moves in Friday and into Saturday and the impacts that you need to be ready for the upcoming weekend. Becca, how are the roads this morning?
Still monitoring that active situation over towards Shannon Park. Our crews on the scene of this earlier crash on the plaza at Aintree Road that did take down some power lines. Now, before earlier this morning, around 466 customers were without power, according to Duke Energy. That number has now been reduced to less than 80. So they are making some progress, but the estimated time of complete restoration is around 1:30 this afternoon. Again, this is the plaza. It is shut down currently between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive. Best workaround will be to take Shamrock Drive. A couple of other things I'm looking at. Well, this one's still causing the biggest headaches, and that is going to be over towards those southbound lanes of the Brookshire Boulevard at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. In addition, still have this one on the inner loop of I-45 towards John Street, causing an extensive stretch of delays. A little bit further over to the west, Providence Road northbound, we do have a crash right before I-45. Taking you live outside between the Mecklenburg and York County line, I-77 at Westinghouse Boulevard. It's just the northbound lanes running a little bit slow.
8:04 now. We start with a breaking news update out of Northwest Charlotte. CMPD investigating a deadly shooting that happened near the intersection of Carroll Avenue and Rose Street. You can see it's not far from Tuckasegee Road where this happened. Police say when they arrived at that scene just after 7 last night, they found a man who'd been shot. Medic pronounced him dead shortly afterwards. Our crews on the scene tell us they saw a car with its windows shot out. At this time, police say there are no suspects in custody. If you have any information about this case, you should call Crime Stoppers at 704-344-1600.
This morning, we're following a high-profile attempt to get Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden removed from office. A state lawmaker and 4 former employees of the sheriff's office have filed a petition in court. They accuse the sheriff of misconduct and say he broke the law. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live from the sheriff's office uptown with a closer look at what comes next. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Tuesday morning, all those on the plus. Basically, a number of folks are concerned about the sheriff who runs, among other things, the jail right here in Mecklenburg County. They say it's time for him to leave office, and they've gone to court to make him do so. The filing submitted Monday in the Mecklenburg County Superior Court by State Representative Carla Cunningham, former Chief Deputy Kevin Canty, and 3 former Sheriff Office employees. It all claims that under McFadden there have been safety problems at the Mecklenburg County Jail. Retaliation against his critics, misuse of county resources, and inappropriate conduct involving deputies and department vehicles. It also claims McFadden violated federal law by directing sheriff's office staff to assist with campaign work and by using agency vehicles and credit cards for non-official purposes. Cunningham's claims stem in part from a conversation she had with McFadden during debate over state legislation requires sheriffs to cooperate more closely with federal immigration authorities. She says the interaction that she had with him on the phone amounted to intimidation and an attempt to influence her vote.
One of the things he said was that the citizens of Mecklenburg County would come after me. And he went on to explain that the cost to house the people inside of the jail was going to cost additional money and that the citizens would have to foot that bill. I'm hoping and I'm praying that something does happen that will be beneficial, not just for me, but for everybody in this county, because it's not acceptable that you would threaten someone, no matter what position you hold.
Now, two people have the authority to remove the sheriff for gross misconduct. That is the county attorney as well as the district attorney of Mecklenburg County. As for the district attorney, Spencer Merriweather has asked the SBI, who's agreed to investigate into these allegations. He said that he will look into those. As far as what that might lead to, if they're found out to be any gross misconduct, it could be months before the sheriff is removed. Incidentally, he's running for office this year. His primary in March pits him against 3 other people. We'll, of course, keep you posted. The sheriff has said that he has not yet granted an interview request to comment on these allegations. Right now, we're outside the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, to that point, the sheriff is scheduled to join us right here on WCNC Plus coming up at the top of the hour in the 9 o'clock hour. Now, to be transparent, this was scheduled before the recent news events of the last 24 hours. We'll let you know the latest, but again, he's expected to join us right here on WCNC Plus in our 9 o'clock hour. While this is all happening, more North Carolina House lawmakers say they are calling on Sheriff McFadden to testify. The House Oversight Committee asking him to appear later this month on January 22nd. They want to hear from him, they say, regarding public safety across Charlotte, including on public transit. They also expect him to address strategy, spending, and the department's DEI efforts. Sheriff McFadden has said, quote, he has nothing to hide and plans to testify, adding that he hopes his testimony will mark the beginning of a constructive dialogue. And as he looks to win another term this year, he faces a crowded Democratic primary. That includes Antoine Nance, a former Mecklenburg County detention officer, CMPD Sergeant Ricky Robbins, and Rodney Collins, a former chief deputy with Mecklenburg County.
Right now, a GoFundMe account is raising money for the family of a CMPD officer who died on Sunday. CMPD says 39-year-old Michael Miles passed away from a medical complication. He joined the department in 2012 and served in the Freedom Division. Miles leaves behind a partner and 4 children. So far, more than $25,000 has been raised to support his family. And this morning, we are working to learn what led to a crash involving a CMS bus in North Charlotte. It happened Monday afternoon at Beatty'sford Road and Sunset Road. Police say another driver was involved. 2 people were hurt. There's no word yet if they were students. We have reached out to CMS and are waiting for a response.
8:09 right now on WCNC Plus. Right now, we turn to the latest developments in the turmoil happening in Venezuela. The former president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife remain in a New York jail after pleading not guilty to narco-terrorism, conspiracy, and other federal charges. Authorities say they were captured Saturday by U.S. forces in a surprise operation. Delcy Rodriguez, who was Venezuela's vice president under Maduro, has now been sworn in as the country's new leader. President Trump says that the U.S. is in charge of Venezuela right now and warned its interim leader to cooperate or pay a big price. Rodriguez has said she's willing to work with America. Back here in Charlotte, a lot of folks expressing concerns over the ongoing situation in that country. The owner of a local Venezuelan restaurant tells us that fear in the country is high, with guerrilla groups actively targeting those who oppose Maduro's administration. Although he says he believes that this was needed, this was necessary, challenges lie ahead.
So this was 100% necessary, but now I'm afraid about my people in there because now you can find shortage in food, in medical attendants.
Coming up in our next half hour, hear from a professor of Latin American Studies who shares his insight with some of the key players in this situation, including that country's new interim leader.
In York County, residents are calling on county leaders to move the controversial Silfab facility from its current location. This comes after months of concerns about the environmental quality around the factory where 2 Fort Mill schools are located. Residents now say council needs to do more to ensure the safety of the community.
This facility presents real risks, especially given its proximity to schools and neighborhoods. The Attorney General has made your authority clear. The final question is not whether you can act, it's whether you will now enforce the BZA ruling and direct staff to comply with the law.
An independent test of the air quality around the schools near the lab showed the air was safe.
8:11 right now. As we had a break, here's an exclusive deal for our viewers.
Hey, our team tests tons of products. We get rid of the rejects. We only bring you the best. And I love this one. It's called the Zippy Sweeper Pro. Take a look at it. And it's got this tri-brush technology here. It's very lightweight, cordless. So you can walk around the house. You just charge it with a USB-C, 30 minutes of use. And it can pick up almost everything. So let me turn it on for you here. Here are some Cheerios on the floor. Very common around my house. Picking them right up, no problem at all. Right? And then here's another problem we have too. Come on down here for a second. This is my dog's dog bowl, and he's a messy eater. So we always have the pet food around too. So look at that. Nice and easy. And it's really, really easy to use too. I've been playing with this for the last few days. Also picked up frozen veggies on the floor too. So it really does work. The other great thing about the Zippy Sweeper Pro, it really gets into places that you really wouldn't want to with a dust buster because it hurts your back. Look how easy this is. Right under my coffee table, and I'm barely bent down at all. Very good for people with back problems like me.
And check out the light on it, showing you exactly where to find those hidden crumbs.
Oh, and I love this. When you're done, all you have to do is pull back this gray handle. Let me tilt this up so you can see it. And it all just comes right out into the trash, no mess. We have an amazing deal on this for you today. Normally, this is $129.99. Today, exclusive for our viewers, $69.99. That is a huge 46% off the retail price. You know it's gonna go. It's while supplies last. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
The time is now 8:15. A judge did not set bond Monday for a man accused of breaking into a home and murdering a teacher in Raleigh.
Police say there's no indication the suspect and the victim knew each other. But as Carly Haynes reports, the suspect was no stranger to the criminal justice system.
Ryan Camacho.
He's once again in a Wake County courtroom, though this time Ryan Camacho is accused of murder.
I'm inclined to set no bond at this point.
A memorial left outside the home of Zoe Welsh. The Ravenscroft teacher Camacho is accused of killing in what Raleigh police call a random attack.
We all, want to go back and figure out, what are the places of intervention.
District Attorney Lauren Freeman knows Camacho's lengthy criminal record. More than 20 charges across Wake and Durham counties, many of them misdemeanors.
He has spent a lot of time, bouncing between the prison system and the local jails over the last few years, and has really been in custody all but maybe a total of 12 months out of the last 6 years.
Most recently in Wake County, he faced misdemeanors for breaking into a home under construction and stealing pillows off someone's front porch. He had been in custody since August. So when did he get out of jail for this previous case?
December 4th.
December 4th. So it was just a month that lapsed. Ultimately released when he was found unfit for trial. A state prosecutor then requested involuntary commitment, but the judge denied it.
Someone can be found not capable to proceed and yet determined, that they're not an imminent threat to themselves or somebody else.
Such a sad story. Carly Haynes reporting for us there. Camacho is due back in court on January 26th.
Listen to this. For the first time since record keeping began in 2004, there are now more registered Republicans than Democrats in North Carolina. The latest data from the State Board of Elections shows the margin is very slim. Republicans outnumber Democrats by just 3,000 voters. Independent voters still make up the largest group of voters in the state.
Check this out. Site Selection Magazine says North Carolina is the #1 state for workforce development. The governor made the announcement during his visit at a machine specialties on Monday. He highlighted programs that train workers through high schools, community colleges, and apprenticeships. In 2025, the state added more than 35,000 jobs, the most in our state's history. Looking ahead, the governor says the goal for 2026 is simple: grow the economy and make it work for everybody.
The people of North Carolina are our greatest asset. By investing in our people, we invest in this state's future. We are at our best when we work together as a team, and this is an accomplishment that reflects the work of Team North Carolina.
This is the third time in the last 4 years North Carolina received the honor.
Well, coming up straight ahead, we're talking about warm weather for the next few days, but then a cold front's on the way that's going to bring in some scattered rain showers heading into the weekend. We'll look more at that, plus a big cool down on the way straight ahead.
All right, we've been talking about this. How long now? A couple of
Several
hours at least. Today is a great day if you are a fan of pancakes.
Yeah, it's big news for all the foodies out there. IHOP bringing back its bottomless pancake deal. The offer available with the purchase of various breakfast combos. Here's the deal. You receive 2 buttermilk pancakes at a time, And the stacks just keep on coming as long as you keep on eating. The chain also bringing back its multi-flavored syrup caddies so you can drench those pancakes in whatever you like. The deal going on now to the end of March, but it brought up really the biggest of all breakfast debates, one for the ages. Pancakes or waffles? We've been asking you all morning, starting over on the broadcast, are you team waffles or are you team pancakes? And here's a look at what you said. A lot of you felt very strongly.
Wow.
And overwhelmingly.
75%.
I'm not even surprised by this.
I am.
You are?
Very
Yes.
surprised.
Lisa and I were very strongly team waffles. Becca and Majestic disagreed. If you'd like to make your case, maybe the people will change their minds.
I mean, here's the thing. We've been talking about, do you like to put fruit in your pancakes, on your waffles? You like the waffles because of the amount of butter and syrup that you
the
can.
crevices hold the butter, and
Like
you
little
get
cups.
you
Little
get
cups
you
of
get
syrup.
a really good butter to like
Yeah.
syrup ratio. With
See, I don't want butter on the waffle.
And also the waffles have the crunch, but also the fluffiness. They
do like the crunch.
The waffles get everything in there.
See, I think I don't like the crunch.
I don't like the crunch either. I like the
it
soft, tender.
Yeah.
You can put anything in it.
Yeah, I don't need the crunch.
Yeah.
Listen, you have the right to be wrong, and that's okay.
All right, check this out. Though we even have a picture of someone's morning
That's right.
waffle today. Thank you guys so much for participating. Let's see this picture.
Oh, cute.
Oh, I love it. Team waffles.
that's a
Mickey
pancake.
waffles.
Looks like a pancake to me.
Pancake.
No, here's the thing. Because
That's a
my
pancake.
kids eat these. These are trust me, these are the waffles that you put in the microwave that the moms who are really busy, they just put it in there. It does look like a pancake, but they call them waffles.
I'm confused
Well,
now.
this just confuses. This muddies the water. I don't know what to do with this.
I know these because these are in my freezer, but they're labeled as waffles.
I don't see the
kinda-
crevices.
Well, the Mickey eyes and ears look, the nose, those are the crevices.
I don't know if you're helping our case, Lisa.
Well, my kids say they want the Mickey waffles. You guys, it's a thing.
Okay.
All right.
Come on, Ben.
How about your forecast?
All right, let's get a quick check of the forecast today. We are starting out again with a few clouds out there, but starting to see a little bit of sunshine already up there in Monroe, and that's how the day plays out. Cloudy to start, some sunshine this afternoon, and even if you're seeing that fog out there this morning, really it should start to mix out by about 9-10 o'clock. Mid-60s for our afternoon highs, even warmer, even more spring-like Wednesday and Thursday. I'm talking about 70s on the way, and then in the weekend, we're going to start out Saturday with still mild conditions, scattered rain showers, and then cooler as we're wrapping up that weekend. Yesterday, we topped off at 58 degrees. Today, 65. It's going to feel pretty nice if you have any outdoor plans. Satellite and radar looks all right, still holding on to some cloud coverage, but it'll take a little while before they start to taper off. It's 46 degrees in Morganton, 45 in Rock Hill. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have very warm temperatures to talk about, plus a cold front that's on the way, heading straight into the weekend. Becca.
And a live look outside, you can see the current road conditions and all of the crashes and incidents we have across the greater Charlotte area. So when you see something like this, you know to leave extra early to get to your destination early this morning. The biggest issue by far is going to be this crash on the Brookshire Boulevard heading southbound at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. I will have that best alternate route coming up next.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. We're starting to see a little bit of sunshine peek through those thick clouds out there in Kannapolis, and that's how today is going to pan out. Starting out with mainly cloudy conditions, even some fog out there, and then by the afternoon, we'll see temperatures go from 30s and 40s back into the low to mid 60s today. If you are traveling today, make sure you're mindful. We have very dense fog, especially right along I-40 from Statesville to Hickory, and that's where we do still have this dense fog advisory in place until 9 o'clock today. Once that fog mixes out, you can plan for the return of some sunshine, still mixed in with a little bit of cloud coverage this afternoon. But talk about a nice mild afternoon with high temperatures today climbing into the mid 60s, mid 70s tomorrow with a cold front moving in Friday night and into Saturday. Plan for rainy conditions mainly for the first half of the day come Saturday. Becca.
Traffic still not letting up out there. Live look from I-77 at the John Milk Freeway. Pretty much gridlock to everywhere you look. It's because we've got lots of incidents out there. This one causing the most delays over towards Mountain Island Lake. We do have a crash on those southbound lanes at the Brookshire Boulevard at Horseshoe Bend Beach Road. And then this one. This is going to be on the inner loop of I-485 right at John Street.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. This morning, Lancaster County deputies are investigating a suspected homicide near Indian Land. Just before noon Monday, they responded to the parking lot of the Designers Marketplace on Yarborough Road, right off Fort Mill Highway. There they found a 74-year-old man shot and killed inside a van. We're told the victim worked at that business. It's not clear yet, though, how long he'd been dead when investigators found him. No word yet on a potential suspect. Right now, an Iredell County man is in jail after authorities say he shot at young people pulling a prank in his neighborhood. Craig Mason facing multiple felony charges. Deputies say a group of teens were driving through Mason's neighborhood on Saturday playing Ding Dong Ditch. That's when Mason went to investigate a doorbell ring at a neighbor's home and opened fire on their vehicle. One teen was shot in the leg and taken to the hospital. We're told Mason's bond amount will be determined when he appears in court.
Charlotte's newly formed Safety Council Committee met Monday for the first time following a series of high-profile crimes, including that deadly stabbing of Irena Zarutska, which put public safety and mental health under a microscope. Leaders zeroing in on how untreated mental health and substance abuse issues often show up in crime. City leaders pointing to data that shows a strong connection. In a survey they found, out of 175 detained youth, nearly 98% had at least one mental health diagnosis, underscoring the need for intervention before the courtroom.
How can we intersect? And we have to do that in our schools, we have to do that in our homes, we have to make sure that our parents are being accountable and that we as community members are accountable.
City leaders say the conversation will continue at a strategic planning retreat later this month, where they will focus on funding and expanding existing programs.
Charlotte City leaders taking a hard look at whether street vending really works in one of the city's busiest neighborhoods.
After 6 months of testing the idea in Noda, officials say some issues improved, but others proved much harder to fix. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live in Noda this morning with a look at why the city is now moving in a different direction. Destiny.
Yeah, the 6-month pilot program had vendors along streets like North Davidson here in Noda, and city leaders say that the program was helpful, but not enough to overcome what they call a major problem, and that is Noda's narrow sidewalks. Now, Charlotte City staff walked council members through the timeline of the Noda street vending pilot, which launched last fall after complaints from brick and mortar businesses about congestion and safety. 14 vendors were permitted during the pilot, and city leaders say there were some improvements, including fewer unpermitted vendors and less sidewalk crowding at peak times. But staff say illegal vending continued, enforcement options are limited, and Noda's infrastructure simply isn't built to support street vending long term.
When you're in Noda, it's really very difficult, whether it be a city permitted program or not, to have a vendor in a location where they're not obstructing the sidewalk or they're not impacting the sight line of a driver, or frankly, they're not within very close proximity to an entrance of a small business itself. So when we say it's just not suitable from an infrastructure perspective, I mean, these are just hard constraints that are really difficult to get around.
And because of these factors, the safety committee agreed to let the pilot program expire next month, and Noda vendors that have permits, they'll be allowed to operate until February 15th. We also know that city staff actually recommended broader regulations for street vending that could be in place citywide, but that decision requires a vote to happen in the future. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Noda.
Destiny, could you actually show us there behind you? Give us an idea, a demonstration about just how narrow those sidewalks are. I mean, are they much narrower than, say, ones that would be in a neighborhood? Give us some indication there behind you.
Yeah, so where we're standing specifically, this is kind of a wider part of the sidewalk, but once you go right in front of the businesses here in Noda, say in front of the iceberg here, you can see where it kind of narrows and it gets to be right between the business and cars parked on the street. So it definitely narrows down here. When you see people that have their tents up, that's taking up even more space. So it's not just people selling things at a table, but they also may have tents. They may have an excessive amount of things that they're displaying or selling. So in this area, you can definitely see exactly how narrow the sidewalk gets. So it's safety that's an issue, and again, it is just the traffic of people that are walking along sidewalks like this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great demonstration. That
Yeah.
shows you. I mean, I would think just pedestrian traffic would have trouble getting by. You put anything else on that thin strip,
For sure.
you can't even get by. All right, Destiny, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Destiny. Sycamore Brewing is no longer moving forward with its planned location in Cotswold. That's according to a spokesperson for Thrift Commercial Real Estate Services, which operates at Cotswold Village. This comes as the brewing company closed its South End location Monday following the arrest of Justin Brigham, the now former co-owner of Sycamore Brewing, last month. He's accused of raping a teenager. Brigham remains in custody in Stanley County. His next court appearance is scheduled for January 26.
Just about 8:36 right now on WCNC Plus. Now to the latest in Venezuela. The Trump administration and many congressional Republicans are defending Saturday's brazen U.S. military raid to capture the president there, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. However, not everybody on Capitol Hill is convinced the mission was even legal to begin with. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
Fresh tensions in Venezuela as overnight gunfire rang out in Caracas. Two White House officials tell NBC News the administration is closely tracking the situation and the U.S. was not involved. While in the U.S., Venezuela's deposed authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores pleading not guilty to federal drug and weapons charges. Maduro saying in a New York courtroom that he's still the constitutional president of Venezuela, calling himself a prisoner of war. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi defending the Trump administration's move to capture and remove Maduro, accusing him of bringing tons of drugs into the U.S.
This was well within the president's Article 2 powers. It was a law enforcement function to arrest indicted individuals in Venezuela.
President Trump has repeatedly said the U.S. is now in charge in Venezuela, even as interim president and Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez was formally sworn in. While in an exclusive interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, President Trump asserted the U.S. is at war with people that sell drugs, not with Venezuela, as Democrats slam the administration for acting without congressional approval.
It was military action, not a law enforcement action.
Republican leadership defending the use of force after a classified briefing for the Gang of Eight top congressional leaders.
The administration is acting consistent with the law, and that's what we discussed in the room tonight.
President Trump telling NBC News the U.S. may reimburse oil companies that help rebuild Venezuelan infrastructure, aiming for expanded oil operations within 18 months. Venezuela's interim president, who initially called Maduro's capture an illegal kidnapping, is now offering to collaborate with the Trump administration. Yet her government has ordered police to arrest anyone involved in supporting this weekend's U.S. attack that ousted Maduro. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Right here on WCNC Plus, we spoke with a professor of Latin American Studies and got some insight on Venezuela's new leader, Delcy Rodriguez. Take a listen.
She's known as a kind of, radical presence in terms of her speech, in terms of her, anti-imperialist credentials. But over the past few years, when Venezuela has entered deep economic crisis, she's really actually been much more of a pragmatist and a moderate, moving Venezuela from a hyperinflationary cycle to a dollarized economy, which helped to stem some of the deepest financial crisis.
Join us as we take a deeper dive into issues of the day and breaking news as it happens right here on WCNC Plus. Stream all day.
Governor Josh Stein is shining a light on human trafficking in North Carolina. He proclaimed January Human Trafficking Prevention Month on Monday. State leaders say the issue impacts millions worldwide and hundreds of survivors right here in North Carolina. To raise awareness, several state buildings in Raleigh will be illuminated in blue this week. Officials are encouraging you to learn the signs and to speak up if you notice something suspicious. All right, 8:39. Now let's check in with Majestic to get more details on our forecast for this Tuesday.
Still a few clouds outside this morning and still dealing with a little bit of fog in places as well. But temperatures, they're not too bad. We're at 48 degrees right now, and our daytime highs today, they'll be much warmer than where we topped off yesterday. We'll get to that, but a lot of us were still waking up to a view like this where we have cloudy conditions out there. It's dry, but it's just not the most beautiful start to our Tuesday. Little bit of blue sky starting to break through some of those clouds there in Monroe. Much of the same out there in Kannapolis, and that's what you should be prepared for in the next few hours. Sunny skies by late in the afternoon. Dense fog advisory still in place for about 20 more minutes. That's for areas north of Mecklenburg County, specifically parts of I-77, I-40. That's where we do have very dense fog, just making it very difficult to see. I mean, look at that. Hickory, Lincolnton, Statesville, Salisbury. So just because you don't have fog outside your window or in your neighborhood doesn't mean it's not out there. So if you're traveling today, be prepared for this, because even by 9 o'clock, I bet there will still be some lingering pockets of dense fog. 43 degrees currently in Statesville. We're at 38 in Lincolnton. Out there in Lancaster, almost 50 degrees. So comfortable if you're heading out for your morning time walk. We do have a lot of clouds in place right now, but notice as we progress throughout the afternoon, more sunshine will be mixed in with less cloud coverage. And our temperatures today, again, warmer than where we were yesterday and well above our average. We should be right around 52 degrees But today we're going to be topping off at 65 here in Charlotte, 67 across Shiraz as well. So very mild conditions. Yesterday it got pretty in the afternoon, but overall 58 degrees is where we topped off, and again much warmer today. You'll notice a bit of a breeze at times. Those westerly winds will start to increase really by mid-morning and into the afternoon, with some of our winds occasionally gusting up to around 20 to 25 miles an hour. So not the strongest winds we've ever seen, but maybe a little inconvenient if you're heading out to play some tennis today. As we're heading into the overnight hours tonight, it's going to stay very comfortable, upper 40s, low 50s, heading out the door for Wednesday. So while you're heading out maybe for work tomorrow, or you're getting those kids off to the school bus, it's going to be very fine. And then that's just going to set the tone for an overall nice day. 74, 75 degrees is where we top off tomorrow. Possible record warmth there. Mostly cloudy as we're heading into our Thursday, but still pretty dry. We're watching a storm system that starts to push through, really impacting several states. It's going to really remain quite the focus as we head towards Friday night and into Saturday, with those impacts really for the first half of Saturday. Could see some lingering rain even into the afternoon, which is not great timing because of the big football game here in Charlotte on Saturday. As far as those temperatures go, enjoy those 70s. We have 4 days in a row of 70-degree temperatures, and then scattered rain showers come Saturday. So coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about still the nice weather today, and then when the rain specifically could move in across your neighborhood come Saturday. We'll have more on that. Rebecca, how are the roads this morning? What do people need to know?
Traffic really starting to improve as we get closer to that 9 o'clock hour. A live look outside from I-77 at Woodlawn Road. Of course, just a little bit slow on those northbound lanes. Drivers still heading closer to the uptown area, so that's why it is still slow from York County pretty much all the way to uptown, but looking a lot better than it did this time about 30 minutes ago. Still got lots of crashes out there, a lot of which are clearing, but I do want to take you out to this issue that we've been talking about since 5 o'clock this morning. The road still blocked at the Plaza due to a crash that to take down to the power line, so that is between Eastway Drive and Lakedale Drive is expected to totally clear by around 1:30 this afternoon. We actually do have a crew on the scene, and you can see that Duke Energy is working to restore power. Previously, around 466 customers without power, but now just less than 80. So they are making some progress there, but just allow them to work. Again, the road is blocked at the Plaza near Aintree Road. Want to take you out to my graphics. This other one still causing extensive delays. This is going to be on the southbound lanes of Brookshire Boulevard at Horseshoe Bend Beach. The best alternate route would be to take Lucia Riverbend Highway, but that is still gridlocked with traffic as well. Easily add 10, 20, even potentially 30 extra minutes to that morning commute. This new crash is going to be near the airport, Billy Graham Parkway, southbound at Boyer Street.
8:44 right now. Important student loan notices are on their way, and scammers know it. What you need to watch before you click or pay anything. new year, new semester for students, and that means back to routines and school.
And for some children, that can be difficult. If your child is having a hard time getting back into the swing of things, they are not alone. Getting back into the structure of a school day can lead to stress and impact a child's mood and behavior. Experts recommend keeping their routines as stable as possible. They say you should also make sure they stay active and connected to others.
There is this thing we call behavioral activation, which is a treatment tool for symptoms of depression and depression itself that's just getting us to do something. Instead of waiting to feel good and motivated, you do it and then the mood will follow.
Experts say parents can talk to their children about how they feel going back to school and then problem solve with them. Parents of younger children may need to help the kids label their feelings since they may not have the words to express their emotions. And finally, they say set small goals.
The government will be sending out notices to some student loan borrowers.
Meanwhile, scammers will also be working to trick them into thinking that something may be wrong with their loans. Reporter Tanya Rivera has what you need to know.
Starting this week, the government is sending out notices about garnishing the wages of student loan borrowers who are in default. Now, I got to tell you, it's serious. We're talking a 15% taken out of your paycheck. Also starting this week, scammers. They're going to be trying to trick every single student loan borrower into thinking that something is wrong with their loan. Experts say this is just a given.
When in doubt, always go directly to the source. So if you're unsure of an email you got or a phone call you got, hang up and close the email and go directly to studentaid.gov. That should be the first place you go, and that will lead you in the safe direction for who you should be dealing with.
Just as a reminder, default is defined as unpaid for 270 days. Once you're in default, the loan goes to the Department of Education Collections Unit. It's a separate website you'll have to create a login for, but don't be fooled, it is always free.
First of all, there's never a fee to do anything with your federal student loans. There's never a fee to file a application for consolidation or a lower payment option or to get into loan rehabilitation.
Again, no matter what kind of email or call or text you get about your loan, studentaid.gov is always the source to go to.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Some of us are still holding on to very dense fog, while many of us are starting to see a little bit of sunshine peek through those clouds, and that's how today is going to really pan out for us. Temperatures will remain mild heading out the door this morning, 40s, 50s already, and then by the afternoon, we are rising back into the mid-60s today. Very warm and spring-like heading into Wednesday and Thursday. I'm talking about temperatures tomorrow, nearly 75 degrees. Record warm highs, and then this weekend we do have scattered rain showers on the way. Yesterday 58 degrees is where we topped off, and today it's going to be much warmer, 65. And by the way, we should be into the lower end of the 50s for this time of the year for our normal average high. For satellite and radar right now, you can see still some clouds passing through the Carolinas, but starting to get a little bit more tapered off as they continue to track off to the east. And a big reason for that today is because those winds will start to pick up, and once they do that, it'll usher in warmer temperatures for us, warmer air, which those temperatures respond to, and then it also helps to kind of push some of those clouds out of here as well. 39 degrees in Lincolnton, almost 50 degrees if you're waking up right here in the Queen City. Comfortable if you're heading out the door this morning, and you'll notice gradually clearing conditions over the next several hours. By about noon, we'll see those temperatures rise into the upper 50s, but remember, today we're still continuing to climb into the mid-60s for our overall highs. Still tons of cloud coverage out there in Dallas, and still holding on to very limited visibility for areas north of Mecklenburg County. That's where dense fog advisories do remain in place. These are issued by the National Weather Service, and it makes sense because look at how low the visibility is. It can be a little deceiving because if you're in Charlotte, it's not that bad. We're actually starting to see little pockets of sunshine, but if you're traveling, you may encounter areas where it's very hard to see at times. So remember that. Mid-60s, gradually clearing conditions this afternoon. It's going to be very enjoyable, but remember, we do have some changes on the way, going from mid-60s today back into the mid-70s tomorrow, and even by Thursday holding on to 70-degree temperatures, but mostly cloudy skies then. We do have that cold front on the way that's going to push through Friday night and into Saturday. Still some uncertainty with it when it comes to whether or not this is just going to be a rain event, whether we could see some thunderstorms fire up with it, and the specific timing of it. But as of now, it seems like really the majority of our Saturday, we have a good chance of seeing rain, especially for the first half of the day, which of course is going to impact the big game day on Saturday. Kickoff isn't until 4:30, but still seeing those impacts late in the afternoon. Becca, how are the roads this morning?
All right, taking a live look outside from I-77 at I-85. Both interstates still have a lot of, dare I say, decent traffic out there, but traffic overall starting to lighten up as rush hour traffic commute comes to an end here around the Charlotte area. We still got lots of incidents out there, though, so allow yourself plenty of extra time as you hit the roads, including this one on Providence Road at Wendover Road, and then still this one, Brookshire Boulevard southbound lanes crash at Horseshoe Bend Beach Drive, and then this one is right near the airport. That is Billy Graham southbound. We do have that active crash at Boyer Street. And then this live look outside, of course, I-77 over towards that 85 intersection. Again, if you do have anywhere to be, allow yourself plenty of extra time.
All right, keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Coming up in just a few minutes, our own Jay Monterell is going to take over at the top of the hour from our live Impact studio. We are expecting to hear from Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden just a day after a state lawmaker and 4 former sheriff's employees are calling for his removal. Hear what he has to say coming up next, 9 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. We are starting out the day with still quite a bit of cloud coverage out there and even some lingering fog. However, our temperatures, they're not too bad, mainly into the 40s and 50s. 50 degrees right now in the Queen City, 30 though for our good friends up in Boone. Now, throughout the rest of the day today, we'll start to see some of the clouds taper off. So plan for partly sunny skies later on this afternoon with those temperatures climbing back into the mid 60s today, even warmer mid 70s by tomorrow. But we are watching a cold front that's going to start to push across the Carolinas, especially as we're heading towards Friday night and into Saturday. Saturday does bring us our next best chance to see rain. There's that Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. 65 degrees today, nearly 10 degrees warmer by tomorrow, with record warmth possible through Saturday. Becca, how are the roads this morning?
Taking a live look outside over towards Huntersville. This is I-77 at Hambright Road. The traffic cam just froze, but traffic moving along nicely as it should in both those north and southbound lanes. A little bit more packed with traffic over towards South Charlotte, 77 northbound right now. Pretty gridlocked, pretty typical for this time of day. Do have this crash want to let you know of in Dilworth, Luther Street at Eli Street, causing just minor delays.